Aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. The stock market basically closed out the week the way it's been trading most of the week, kind of choppy. We are short-term extended from the 21 EMA and the 50 SMA on the SPY and the QQQ. So pullback or at least sideways consolidation digestion would make sense here. We got extremely bullish last week. The AAII and National Association of Individual or NAAIM all came in a little bit lower this week. So it's good to see that bullishness did not increase because that would have definitely meant that we should look for a pullback. But I also saw some action confirming the short-term overbought situation, extreme sentiment that was a little bit different this weekend, or this week I should say. AXON pulled back and FT&T pulled back and CoreWeave pulled back, Circle pulled back. So that hot momentum, even QUBT and IONQ, even though there's nothing wrong with these two, they had a pullback today. And right now, it just seems like this theme, the sectors that we should all be focused on are the drones like AV, Bitcoin like BITX, and then nuclear plays. And on that end, actually, before we get to this, let me go ahead and make it very clear that right now in this market, listen, breakouts were great earlier. Like, for instance, this one, Hood, whenever it broke out in May, worked great. CRS from the weekly squeeze scan, you can see the red line here, broke out, worked great. And then, of course, my biggest regret of this entire one is Roblox from my weekly squeeze scan. I didn't think the handle was long enough. Huge regret on my end because this is a position I load up in once these kind of names make my weekly squeeze scan. But on that note, right now breakouts are not, ideal. I tried FT&T from the weekly squeeze scan. It showed up somewhere back here again after already being in it over here. It started to break out, and I believed that we weren't that extended to this level, that we're kind of going to cheat that breakout and get a better entry. But you can still see that line that I drew was the breakout line that I had, and FT&T got stuffed. So breakouts really aren't in play. They're not failing either. Chef, that broke out and you can see it got stuffed and it's holding in. A-Lab tried A-Lab back in June on a breakout and it got stuffed, but it's holding in. But right now, everything that's working for me has basically been off support. And so on that, unless it's Bitcoin was different because positioning was completely offsides. Commercials were long, speculators small and large were short. Everything catalyst driven makes sense to me right now with the dollar weakness, gold, silver, Bitcoin being strong. Beautiful breakout. And we are long BITX, and I do recommend if you bought it when I bought it in the base, to be selling at least 10% if you don't have a large position. If you have a huge position, lock in 15% and then let the rest ride. But I wouldn't give horses in the mouth right now because we're just a little extended in the market. And with that being said, we're also long SOFI, and I have a position at SOFI. I will be taking profits in this one at the morning on Monday. But I'm going to stick to this squeeze scan because URA, I decided, so this is not a trade I would normally take, but I don't like breakouts right now. So what I'm trying to do is focus on my, excuse me, folks, my weekly and daily squeeze scan and just buy names that I really like and sector themes that I like that make this scan that are consolidating near the 21 EMA. URA made this scan yesterday, fresh name in the scan. I went long and bought it today. So far, it's working out, but my stop, my RR on this trade is so good because if it works out, it's going to be huge percentage gain compared to the risk unit. So the RR is just really in my favor, taking these kind of trades right now, and this will be my focus. One that I didn't take, and this is why I took URA, is LEU, showed up in this scan on this day at the 21 EMA, not shown on this chart. LEU, uranium, nuclear energy, 2 days, 15% gain. So this is where I want to focus. CTGO made the scan today. You see the white triangle, but I don't see a reason to get long this name, and it's super thin. AKRO made this scan, but wasn't making it, made it back here, but I didn't add it to here. But it has not worked out. That being said, it's a biotech stock, not necessarily a completely hot sector. SMR made the scan today, and that is my new swing position, my only swing position this weekend. Going to get long above the high of the day, and I'm going to calculate my risk to this low. Not going to be able to get a whole lot because I continue to be basically tapped out with buying power. That's why I take partial profits on the way up and get out immediately on stocks like FT&T if they fail. URA is working. QUBT has showed up in the scan. I am already long QUBT from back here, but technically it's giving a 50% end of day signal today. And from our long entry to that 50% end of day sell signal, because it's closing below the 21 EMA, that is a 30% gain in this name. And TMC is one I want to focus on because this initially showed up in the daily squeeze scan on this day here, but it wasn't in proper alignment, and the scan, we fixed it because we were wondering how come the scan keeps giving back so little numbers, 1-0 every day despite this uptrend going on. Well, Tickets made a perfect scan for this daily squeeze scan that eliminates stocks that have big downtrends before they make 100% moves in the previous 6 months. The only thing that needs to happen though is I have to change the custom date, and I wasn't doing that. Now that I know that it's a user error, we fixed it. But TMC showed up in this scan on this day, pulled back the next day. If a buy stop goes in above 493, you can see that has played out very well. It actually, TMC is the one that actually made me review my daily squeeze scan and be like, what's going on? Because it showed up this day. And I was like, well, it should have shown up this day based on the dots in the TTM squeeze. Fixed it. Now it will show up again if it consolidates. But TMC, it technically has worked since here. It's up 109%. Even from the day that it should have triggered and definitely would have been in play because it's a mineral company with that ocean mineral mining catalyst. So SMR will be the new swing trade for me come Monday morning from my daily squeeze scan. Also wanted to show you something about the weekly squeeze scan. So now we'll move over to the weekly squeeze scan. You can see back when, like I said, the breakouts were working. You can see the lines on the chart. MSTR, well, guess what? I'm long also, MSTR. But you can see how the breakouts were working back whenever they were earlier drawn. But if you look at the lines that I've drawn on the recent breakouts, which I am not taking, FEIM was one that I was in. That is a 100% end-of-day sell signal following today's session. Why is that? Because it's come back into the base from where it was long. Basically, it's break even. It's a 0% gain or loss on the final position with FEIM. But Roblox, I'm going to look at ZG. This showed up. So when these stocks show up in the weekly squeeze scan and they're not extended or breaking out, they're within a base, they just got to be bought. I just got to buy them because they just keep on working. ZG is yet another example. RDVT was an earlier base that broke out. FT&T is a recent breakout that failed. Just going to run down this. Lemonade was trying to set up, starting to roll over now. It was a buy stop candidate. I really like ASTS. I see basically a weird long saucer pattern with high handle forming here. Dash Z was another one. ZZG, it's the same stock. TDS is another one that showed up in the weekly squeeze scan, not extended. And of course now, boom, works out really well. 3 days, up 10%. U showed up in the weekly squeeze scan this week, but as you can see, not in a consolidation, already extended. And then today, CENX showed up in the weekly squeeze scan as a fresh name, but you can see it is extended. So moving forward, for now, while the market is extended, overbought, sentiment is bullish, I'm going to focus more on buying the consolidations and not buying these breakouts. Now, Bitcoin was different whenever we went long here. It was different. Bitcoin is a bit of a different character, but right now focus are drones, uranium, nuclear, Bitcoin related names, and basically taking stocks that are fresh in the weekly and daily squeeze scan, as long as they're in consolidations, getting them before the breakouts occur. If they show up as fresh names after or on a breakout day like Senks, not in play for me. So right now, support only, no breakouts. Things are Looking okay still. We did actually have a few house cleaning end of day sell signals. I am already out of both of these names, but BOW confirmation close below the 200 SMA, full rollover, a series of 3 lower highs and 3 lower lows. BOW, I believe, was a long position back here, shook me out at some point like in here by having stops too tight. But on an end of day basis, it is a 100% sell signal. And then KINS is also 100% sell signal. Same reason, one high, one high, one lower high, another lower high, another lower high, and a series of 3 lower lows rolling over below the 200 SMA. That is a full sell signal. And I can't remember, but I think it was here. And so 36% gain on an end of day basis if you're trading on an end of day basis only. So the only game plan I have for Monday is get long SMR above this high of the day, cut it if it closes below here. And what I will do, I did try 2 others. UPWK, I put a buy stop above this high following today's session. That trade is canceled and it is no longer on the books. And then TEM after yesterday, I noticed the lower volume pullback and I was interested in getting long above this high. But after today's session, I'd rather raise all that capital and put it into SMR.